Mitsuha wakes up feeling strange, as if she had just seen a dream, but she can't remember what it was. She goes to have breakfast, where her younger sister and grandmother are present. Her mother is no longer alive, and her father left them long ago. He was once a priest at the temple, but is now pursuing a position as the city's mayor. Mitsuha's grandmother still takes care of the temple. As they eat, the news on TV announces that a comet will pass over their town and be visible for 15 minutes, a rare event that occurs once every 12 years. Mitsuha heads to school, where she notices something strange in her notebook. Someone has written, "Who are you?" Confused, she tries to recall what happened the previous day, but she remembers nothing. Her friends tell her that she had been acting weird, even coming to school with her hair down, which is unusual for her. Mitsuha feels lost and mutters, "Lately, it feels like I'm living in a dream." Later, Mitsuha and her younger sister perform a traditional dance at the temple under their grandmother's guidance. As part of an old ritual, she chews rice and stores it to allow fermentation, a process used to create sake. Her friends tease her about it, but Mitsuha doesn't find it funny. She is completely bored of her small-town life, and, in frustration, yells, "I hate this place! I hate my life! In my next life, please make me a handsome boy in Tokyo." The next morning, Mitsuha wakes up in an unfamiliar room, only to realize she is in a boy's body. She looks in the mirror and sees the face of a Tokyo high school student named Taki. Shocked and confused, she believes it must be a dream. Still in disbelief, she stumbles her way through Taki's morning routine and heads to school. She doesn't recognize anyone, but his friends approach her as if nothing is wrong. After school, they all visit a cafe, and Mitsuha is amazed by Tokyo's bustling life, so different from her quiet village. She enjoys the city's atmosphere, realizing how much more there is to experience outside her small town. Just then, a message pops up on Taki's phone. "You're late for work." Taki's friends tell him they need to go to work, and Mitsuha, who is in Taki's body, learns that Taki has a part-time job at a fancy restaurant. Though she has never worked in such a place before, she somehow manages to get through the shift, experiencing city life in a way she never had before. At the end of the day, she takes a pen and writes Mitsuha on Taki's hand, realizing someone had previously written, "Who are you?" in her notebook as well. However, when she wakes up the next morning, she is back in her own body, in her village. Slowly, both Mitsuha and Taki begin to understand what is happening. They are switching bodies. Some mornings, Mitsuha finds herself in Taki's body in Tokyo, while Taki wakes up in Mitsuha's body in her small town. They soon figure out that their body swapping only happens when they sleep, and they never remember everything clearly after switching back. To make sense of this, they start leaving messages for each other. Mitsuha writes notes in Taki's phone about his daily schedule, what he needs to do, and even helps set up a date with a girl he likes. In return, Taki leaves messages in Mitsuha's notebook, advising her on how to behave in Tokyo and even warning her not to embarrass him in front of his crush. Over time, they begin to develop a deep connection. Even though they have never met in person, they start to care for each other in ways they don't fully understand. One day, Taki, now in Mitsuha's body, hears shocking news. A comet is about to pass over Mitsuha's town, an event that happens only once in 12 years. However, something feels strange about it. When Taki wakes up in his own body, he tries to contact Mitsuha, but his calls don't go through. Desperate to see her, he embarks on a journey to Mitsuha's town. However, when he arrives, he is met with a devastating truth. Mitsuha's town was destroyed by the comet years ago. Shocked and heartbroken, he realizes that he has been swapping bodies with someone who no longer exists in the present. Looking through his phone, he finds the last message Mitsuha left for him. In it, she had written about her feelings, hinting that she might have fallen for him. Overwhelmed with emotions, Taki looks up at the night sky, just as the comet splits into two. Days pass, but Mitsuha never swaps into Taki's body again. Taki grows restless, realizing something is terribly wrong. Desperate to find answers, he sets out on a journey to Mitsuha's village, hoping to meet her in person. However, when he arrives, he finds that no one in the area recognizes her name. Confused, he wanders through the village, searching for any trace of Mitsuha. While eating at a small restaurant, he spots an old photo of the town before it was destroyed. His heart sinks when he hears the truth. 3 years ago, in 2013, a comet fragment crashed into the village, wiping out the entire population. Mitsuha's home no longer exists. Taki rushes to the impact site, where he finds a massive crater that has now turned into a lake. He is overwhelmed with shock and grief, realizing that Mitsuha and everyone in her village died years ago. He struggles to comprehend how he had been swapping bodies with someone who no longer exists in the present. Desperate for proof, he checks historical records listing the names of those who perished in the disaster. Mitsuha's name is there. Even worse, all the notes Mitsuha had left on his phone, every message, every reminder, have vanished. It is as if she was never real. Taki begins to believe that everything he experienced was just a dream. At that moment, he meets the girl he had gone on a date with, Okudera. She notices the red thread bracelet on his wrist and asks where he got it. Taki hesitates before answering. 3 years ago, in 2013, I met a girl. I don't remember her name, but she gave me this. I've always kept it as a lucky charm. Realizing that Mitsuha had existed in a different timeline, Taki becomes determined to find a way to save her. The next morning, he writes a letter to his friends and leaves without telling them where he's going. He sets off toward the sacred temple, the same place where Mitsuha had once performed rituals with her grandmother. Reaching the temple deep in the mountains, he drinks the sacred sake that Mitsuha had made, believing it might reconnect him to her. As he collapses, he suddenly wakes up, this time not in his body, but in Mitsuha's body, 3 years in the past. Taki realizes this is his chance to save Mitsuha and the people of her village. However, time is running out, and the comet is about to strike. Taki now fully realizes the truth. He and Mitsuha have been swapping bodies across different timelines. When he had tried calling her, she never answered because, in his time, she had already died. Standing in the sacred shrine, he opens the bottle of Kuchikamizake, the sake Mitsuha had made through the ancient ritual. As he drinks it, a surge of memories floods his mind. He sees Mitsuha's entire life in flashes, her childhood, her time with her grandmother, and, most heartbreakingly, the moment she had traveled to Tokyo to find him. 3 years ago, on the very day the comet struck, Mitsuha had visited Tokyo, searching for the boy she had been swapping bodies with. She had seen Taki on a train and called out to him, but he did not recognize her. At that time, for him, Mitsuha was just a stranger. Before leaving, she had given him her red thread bracelet, something he had unknowingly treasured for years as his lucky charm. Realizing how much she had cared for him, Taki is overwhelmed with emotion. Then, suddenly, he wakes up, this time inside Mitsuha's body. It is the day of the disaster, just hours before the comet will strike. Taki, in Mitsuha's body, rushes to find her grandmother and warns her that the comet is going to hit the village. However, the grandmother seems unsurprised. She tells Taki that their family has always had mysterious dreams and connections beyond time, but she doesn't fully remember them. Only vague feelings remain. Taki quickly pieces everything together. If he is in Mitsuha's body, then Mitsuha must be in his body, somewhere nearby. Desperate to find her, he runs to the sacred temple, believing that Mitsuha, now in his body, might be there too. As he reaches the mountaintop, the sun begins to set. At that exact moment, something magical happens. Twilight arrives, the time when the boundary between past and present, dream and reality blurs. And then, he sees her. Mitsuha, now in his body, is standing right in front of him. Mitsuha, now back in 2013, knows she has only a few hours to save her village. Even though her memories of Taki are fading, she remembers his determination to prevent the disaster. Fueled by this, she rushes back to town and convinces her friends, Tessie and Sayaka, to help evacuate the villagers. Meanwhile, in 2016, Taki is struggling. His memories of Mitsuha are vanishing, like a dream slipping through his fingers. He looks at his hand, hoping to see her name, but instead he finds the words, "I love you." He is heartbroken, yet deeply moved. Mitsuha didn't just want him to remember her name. She wanted him to remember how she felt. Back in 2013, Mitsuha and her friends execute a desperate plan to evacuate the town before the comet strikes. Using Tessie's father's construction equipment, they cut off power and broadcast an emergency warning, pretending there's a gas explosion threat. While chaos ensues, Mitsuha rushes to find her father, the town's mayor, hoping he will order an official evacuation. At first, her father refuses to believe her. But something in Mitsuha's eyes, perhaps the same determination he once saw in his late wife, makes him pause. Though we don't see exactly what she says, the next thing we know, the town is being evacuated. The comet streaks across the sky. Just like before, it splits in two. But this time, when the fiery fragments rain down, the town is empty. Mitsuha's efforts have changed fate. Years pass. Taki, now a young adult in Tokyo, still feels a strange longing, an emptiness he can't explain. Though he doesn't remember Mitsuha, he often finds himself sketching the town of Itomori as if searching for something, or someone, he lost. One day, as he rides the train, he passes a young woman who also seems to recognize him. Their eyes meet. Something inside them stirs. An ache, a familiarity beyond words. The train stops. Both of them rush out. They stand at opposite ends of a staircase, breathless, hearts pounding. As they pass each other, they turn back at the same time. Nervously, hesitantly, they speak the words that have been waiting for years. "Excuse me? Have we met before?" Their eyes shine with hope. And now, the townspeople believe Mitsuha's warning. Following the evacuation plan, they leave the village and move to a safe location. The comet crashes down, just as it did before, but this time, the village is empty. The town is destroyed, but no one loses their life. Meanwhile, in 2016, Taki has returned to Tokyo, but he has forgotten everything. He no longer remembers Mitsuha or the connection they shared. However, deep in his heart, he feels a strange emptiness, as if something is missing from his life. Years pass. Taki, now a young adult, continues his life in Tokyo, but he often finds himself daydreaming, feeling as if he is searching for something or someone he cannot remember. Mitsuha, who has also moved to Tokyo, feels the same. She doesn't recall Taki, but she too has an unshakable sense that she is looking for someone important. One day, while riding separate trains, their paths cross for a brief moment. Through the windows, they catch a glimpse of each other. Their eyes widen in recognition. Though they do not know why, they feel an undeniable pull toward one another. As the trains move past, they both turn back, desperate to confirm what they just saw. Moments later, they both rush off their respective trains at the next station, running through the busy streets of Tokyo, searching for the other. Finally, on a staircase, they come face to face. They stand there, breathless, gazing at each other. A strange feeling of nostalgia washes over them. For a moment, neither of them speaks. They are overwhelmed by emotions they don't fully understand. As they walk past each other, something in Taki's heart won't let him go. He turns around and calls out, "Haven't we met before?" Mitsuha stops in her tracks. tears forming in her eyes. She turns back and nods. I think so. Taki's eyes glisten with emotion, and then with hopeful smiles, they both ask at the same time. What's your name? The end. Your Name was released in 2016 and became one of the highest-grossing anime films of all time. Though the budget was not disclosed, the film earned over $380 million worldwide. I hope you enjoyed the summary. Let me know if you need anything else. Hey.